Close your eyes, cross your legs, clasp your hands, fingers into fingers, and just observe your normal, natural breath. I will begin the music and let us start our meditation.
So now I'm gonna play the same bandish, but now we have a rhythmic exploration of it. So I'll be playing. So this is called Ektal. It's like the last.
Friends, 1 minute left. Slowly bring back your awareness to your body and the surroundings. Ten seconds left. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly place your fingers on your eyes for a few seconds, and you may open your eyes. Friends, today's wisdom sharing session is about the slippery slope. You must have all heard about the story of King Bharat from Bhagavatam. Our country was known as Bharat. The British obviously called it India. And King Bharat was the king of the whole country. In the Hindu tradition, we have 4 stages of the Hindu life. We have the Brahmacharya ashram. So, it is assumed that one would live till for 100 years. So the first 25 years of anyone's life is spent in studying, in graduating. So the first 25 years is called the Brahmacharya ashram. The next 25 years of one's life is called the Grahastha ashram, which is where we get married, we have children, we work for an living, etc. And then the other 2 stages which are mentioned in our scriptures are the one prasthashram. So that is when people, after the age of 50 actually leave their worldly belongings and go and stay in a forest. And after 75, they take up sannyas. So the last 2 stages are quite sort of, together. So this is what the 4 stages of life were as mentioned in the Hindu scriptures. So King Bharat was the king of a very large country. Millions of people had really big bungalows, and had a wife, had children, had everything that the materialistic life could offer. However, as per the tradition of the Hindu life, he actually left everything and went for one prasthashram. So after he left everything, he went to the forest, built a small hut by himself, and used to live off the herbs and the fruit and vegetables, whatever was available in the forest. All day long, he would sit in meditation, because the aim of the life after Grahasthashram is self-realization. So he would sit in meditation and lead a very, very simple life, even though he had left a materialistic life where he was a king and he had everything that the materialistic life could offer. one day, a lion, he heard a lion roar, and there was a deer who was pregnant, and she tried to run away from the lion and went, across the river. She was so frightened that unfortunately she gave birth to the baby deer, and the deer herself unfortunately passed away, died. So hearing this, King Bharat obviously was awakened, meaning he saw this incident, he came out of his meditation, and then started thinking about the baby deer. So he had to save the baby deer. So he saved the deer, took it out of the river so that it doesn't drown, and then started looking after the baby deer. His his daily routine changed from doing meditation, for which he had left the kingdom and all the materialistic luxuries that were his, to meditate. However, he felt compassion towards the baby deer and started looking after it. So after a few months, the baby deer actually grew, started walking, started feeding itself. However, the compassion which Bharat had for the baby deer did not go away. So whenever he would sit in meditation, he would continuously then think about the baby deer. So even though he had left everything of this materialistic world, his mind was fixated on the deer. So he was meditating, but in the meditation, the only thing he remembered was what will happen to the deer? Will someone kill it? Will someone eat it? This was from the Bhagavatam. However, if we look at our own selves and our spiritual lives, we are all treading on this path for self-enlightenment. When I was a sannyasi, and the enlightened soul who used to guide me, so I asked him a question. What is the most difficult endeavor on the spiritual path? I was obviously part of a devotional organization. So he thought about the question for a couple of minutes and then he answered. He said, people can spend a lot of time doing arti, doing devotion to God, listening to discourses, can share wisdom, can talk to hundreds of thousands of people and inspire them to worship God. People can eat once a day, people can fast for for longer periods of time. However, the most difficult endeavor on the spiritual path is for someone to sit down on a regular basis every day and meditate for just 1 hour every day. And this, he said, is very, very difficult. So whilst we were all, sadhus and doing all various devotional activities, the Guru realized that whilst he engaged everyone in all these devotional activities, and more so in expanding the organization, in building more temples, and asking the sadhus to go out and basically inspire people, all those activities were taking such a more important role in everyone's life that people were actually deviated from what they had become sadhus or sannyasis for. In that instance, he actually mandated that everyone should sit in discourses for at least 2 times a day. And the reason is just for people who become extrovert to start becoming introvert again. If we look at our own lives, and this is not at a very high level, just at a very simple level. A few years ago and last year, we attended Vipassana. Vipassana is where you go and it's a 10-day silent retreat. All the digital gadgets are taken away from us, and we do not speak to anyone. We observe silence, mauna, and we just meditate for 10 days. Now let's compare that with just trying to meditate every day. So for those 10 days, we did meditate for the 10 days. We were able to live very easily without all the digital gadgets. And we were able to observe silence. Now, if I look at just the normal routine, everyday routine, and if I say, I want to observe silence from 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. In the morning every day. In reality, there is nothing urgent that comes within those 2 hours. Very, very extremely rarely. But what does the mind do? After waking up and getting ready, the mind will give a thought. Why don't you look at your WhatsApp messages? There must be something urgent that someone has sent to you. And just looking at those WhatsApp messages then triggers a lot of thoughts, which are a big disturbance if I'm going to meditate every day in the morning between 5 and 7. And when I don't need to communicate anything to anyone, yet by reading those WhatsApp messages and anything that may have come through, I will then start communicating with others. I will break my vow of silence. If I then look at the meditation itself, had I not read those WhatsApp messages, then I would have had a much deeper meditation. So this, my friends, is a slippery slope for us. When we take up some vows for the progression, our spiritual progress, the mind is going to play tricks with us. The mind, for example, in the morning, if I'm going to sit for meditation, and the mind will then come up with some tricks. So what will it tell me? You haven't had proper sleep tonight, so why don't you miss today's meditation? Or it will tell me, I really need to get the deliverable out today, so you really need to focus on the deliverable rather than meditation. So this is, to a certain extent, a slippery slope for us. And what happens is, we then slowly get into the habit of making exceptions. And once these exceptions become frequent, then we actually lose the momentum that we had, that we want to meditate, to observe silence, or any other spiritual endeavor that we are looking at. Therefore, there is a very good saying. Seneca the Younger says, life is most delightful on the downward slope. Life is most delightful on the downward slope. So if we then look at, we are listening to a lot of things. So there are sort of 2 levels that we need to look at this from. The first level is anything even small that we are trying to do to improve, to progress on the spiritual path. We need to take a decision on doing a few things which we will then rigidly stick to, because then and only then will the discipline in our lives come. And that is why there is another saying which says, never bend the rules. You bend the rules a little bit, and then it's a slippery slope. So for the spiritual progression, first we need to decide on a few things that we want to do on a regular basis and not make exceptions. There may be some really, circumstances where we may need to make some exceptions, but they should be very limited. The other thing that the enlightened soul told me is just introspect for 5 to 10 minutes every day. When you've decided to do something, then before going to bed, ask yourself, did you do that or not? And then he said, if you didn't do those things, what was the reason that you did not manage to do it? And he said, most of the time, it will be something that the mind has actually played a trick on you rather than it was essential that you didn't do it. So that is one level where we are trying to make progress on the spiritual path. The other level is when we think about the story that we just heard, King Bharat. So if we look at his story, then he left everything. And the only purpose he left everything was so that he could just spend the rest of his days in meditation. Even though he had left everything, he did something which he felt at that time when he saw the baby deer, he felt that that was a good, compassionate thing that he needed to do. So the other big slippery slope for us is when we have started on the path of meditation, let us not get diverted into other seemingly good things, which may seem genuinely helpful to others, etc. We may do them, but when we have decided that we want to do an hour or 2 hours or more of meditation every day, let's try and stick to those things and not get diverted. The one thing that really is very easy to spot is when we meditate, if we constantly get thoughts about some activity or something, then that is what is actually diverting us on the spiritual path. And perhaps at that time, we should remember King Bharat, that even though he had left everything, we are not kings, we don't have that much materialistic wealth or anything at all. Even though he had left everything, for him, the deer became the slippery slope. So thank you, friends. If anyone has got anything to share, please feel free to unmute yourself and switch on your video. Thank you very much. Yes, go ahead.
Hi, Dinesh. Um, that was indeed really a beautiful session. And when you were saying, it was really like I was feeling that, sometimes we might take for granted, small things, like in the sense, okay, even the smallest activities, like for example, if we think we have to eat food by 6 o'clock, we think, okay, we have done late and then we eat at 8 o'clock or even 9 o'clock or sometimes 12 o'clock. Yeah, and even the small things that we take for granted, and it's the same, even meditation should be the same as you said, that we have to do, if we stick for something, that we have to do without any distractions and without even giving up even a single day. And thank you so much for reminding, these kind of things all the time, because it's really essential to hear. At some point of the time we'll be thinking, but when we keep on hearing these statements, we'll be on this track and keep motivated. And thank you so much for saying even about the Bharta, because being a king, he left, like also like Buddha, being the kings, they left everything and they went just for for the solitude. And it's also the same for us, although we don't need to leave anything. It's just that we need to do meditation at least 1 hour a day. And thank you so much for reminding. And even the last statement which you said, like about how we have to about the thoughts, how we should not give importance to the thoughts. And sometimes we think these thoughts are so happy, so let me be in those thoughts for some time. But then, when you said, I was thinking, yeah, these are the true distractions. So even then, if the thoughts gives us happiness, these are the distractions. So that is where again we need to concentrate what the thoughts are. So thank you so much for the beautiful words, Dinesh. So I really liked your session today. And I hope again, I will never give up even for an hour of meditation. Yeah, thank you so much for reminding.
Thank you, Alicia. You're so right. The thoughts, we seem to enjoy those thoughts, but the whole purpose of meditation is to go into no thought state. So, so that is why it is, even though they are good thoughts, they are thoughts which may even help others, or we just feel happy. We need to go beyond that. And you are right. Like if somebody was observing a 16/8 intermittent fasting, and we decide that we want to eat by 4 o'clock or 6 o'clock, and then we say, "Oh my God, this is so urgent. Let me," and then we will never get disciplined, and the progress, either in mental health, physical health, or spiritual progress, we are not able to see because we are constantly making exceptions to what we really want to do.
Thank
Perfect.
you. Thank you so much, Dinesh. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, this is Swarna. Thank you, Dinesh ji. This is Swarna, and beautiful meditation and beautiful wisdom sharing about mind and discipline. Yeah, you rightly said, everything is like our progress. If anything is distracting us, going away from our growth, our journey, our progress, then we have to bring it back, saying like, yesterday, like the situation came, like, they cooked and guest came, and I don't like, all those parties, going on and all like my husband planned. Then I was like, missing my peace, right? So then I thought, like, why I should be missing my peace? Because I want to grow and I want to meditate and have all good thoughts. Why am I disturbed with this activity? Then I made a change, shift that as, yes, let them come, I will change them with my with motivating them to meditate and change them into vegetarianism, and with my vibration, with a calm and love and compassion. So that's where I want to lead. My goal is that, and what I'm doing, like, parties, that's okay, let them, whoever wants to do party, that let them party. I will help whatever I can help with the compassion and make them involve. So that way my soul was so happy,
Very good.
shifted from that disturbed to this one. So I had very good time. I did not lose my immediately. It brought back my peace. So every moment, if something is agitating, change that into the uh, universal progress. Universe wants you to progress and change every, and be an impact, right? And also it was like smelling after that, right? It was smelling, and I could clean whatever I could clean. My husband was busy, he couldn't clean. Then I thought, like, I want to meditate in the nature, but I couldn't. Then I thought, okay, if I am meditating like this with this smell and all, then if I am like in a slum area, I am going and bringing impact to the slum area, and I will have to meditate there, right? I can't say it's slum area, I can't meditate. What would I do? Do I focus on slum, and do I complain and lose my peace? No. Let's think. Yeah, this is also one of the experience. My goal is not to lose peace because of that. So again, I bring back my meditation.
Very good.
So yeah, so I just wanted to let you know my experience and shifting back. So every time we have a way to shift back ourselves and not losing our peace, and still move forward with our spiritual journey, and make an impact and make whole environment
Better.
joy and happy. So you rightly said, it's all a mindset. Whatever you feel, mind is can be your friend, mind can be your enemy. So however you want to use it, it's all in our hand. And always universe will come when you have a higher cause. Always, who are compassion, down to earth, who are grounded, who are ready to give, serve, universe will always there. So with that faith and belief, I think there's no look back or there's no complaint. So
Very,
thank you, Dinesh. Appreciate
very,
you.
very good. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So, Nilimaji, do you have any announcement for tomorrow morning?
Yeah, Sumati ji wants to share something.
Yes, yes. Hi, Sumati ji.
Hello, namaste. Thank you, Dinesh ji, for a wonderful session and a knock on the head to reinforce somewhat focus. I'll tell you that. That is, I mean, the mind, although I still lead meditation, I say all the things that I have to say. Yes, the mind can really play all the tricks. Yeah.
Yes.
And I just have one doubt, Dinesh ji.
Yes.
Sometimes, would you say that you just get a message, or when I mean message, a solution during meditation? So
Yes.
yeah, so I just wanted to
So
just
sometimes, because the mind there is so the first stage is currently when we are not meditating, or we've not been meditating for regularly for a few hours every day. There is a lot of clutter in the mind.
Mhm.
Once we start meditating regularly, and for an hour or two, morning, evening, every day, that clutter actually clears.
Mhm.
And the good thing is you get a lot of solutions
Correct.
which you would not normally get.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you get some solutions while you are meditating. So the important thing is, again, the mind will play a trick, is not to cling on to the solution, even though it may be a brilliant one, solving a very big medical case for you. It's not important to cling on to that medical, that solution for that time being. It will come back even after you finish meditating.
Yeah.
People who meditate uh, regularly and for longer periods of time, they all experience that other worldly activities, they are able to keep a good balance. They get much better, innovative solutions to problems because their mind and brain is clutter free.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, I'm with you. And whatever it is, just to witness it, and then to keep track on your breathing, and then to probably reflect on it after meditation.
Yes, and as someone has just stated in the chat, that it's not a message; it's our subconscious mind which is
Yeah,
actually
true. That's true. Yeah.
it is giving us this solution. So what is important is not to cling on to that, because that is, from the point of view of getting to a no mind, no thought state, it is also a distraction.
Absolutely. Thank you, G. Thank you,
Thank you.
Esther. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So basically, thank you, everyone. And is there a message for tomorrow?
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Dinesh, once again. Even what you said to Sumati ji is also so wonderful, to not think, because when solution comes, even I sometimes, instead of meditating, I just come like Eureka, I found the solution and just write it down or somewhere and I immediately come back to meditation. But that is not the true. I mean, that shouldn't be the way. So thank you. Thank you once again, even for saying this one. Yeah. So love your sessions always, Dinesh. Yes. Yeah. So friends, thank you all for joining for today's session. So tomorrow morning, there will be meditation session by me only. So see you all tomorrow morning, my dear friends. Thank you all for joining and for contributing to the group's energies.